Welcome to Center for Social Change. My name is Daniel Puter. Today I'm here with Ricardo Casas, who is the co-chair of SCORE Miami-Dade. SCORE Miami-Dade, I'll give you a couple stats here. It's awesome. They've had 354 chapters nationwide and 21 in Florida. They have 13,000 volunteer business professionals, and they've helped 10 million clients. They are a platform nationally, and I'm guessing internationally too, a little bit, right?
Nationally.
Nationally?
Yes.
And it's a nonprofit that really serves people to help them with business, their life, getting things on track, whether just starting off or I'm guessing bigger too, right?
That's right.
So why do this? I mean, you told me you flew around the world and...
Right. I mean, I had a very, fortunate corporate career, worked around the world, all over, supervise people all around. So I have, I work with all kinds of cultures, diversity, learned about a lot. And then when I retired, I decided, hey, I know everything but Miami and the community here. And why not give back to the community in things I know, which is business. So I joined SCORE and here I am.
So, in Miami-Dade, what do you find the biggest challenges? Like, are the kids not being prepared for life? Do people not know how to even put a business plan together? Do they not even have resumes? I mean, I looked on LinkedIn now. Mm-hmm. Kids in college, when I was teaching at college, they don't even understand. They don't have a LinkedIn. And I'm looking at them like my sixth graders in my private school. They have LinkedIn's in sixth grade. So, what do you see as the challenge per se in your business? With working with people in business plans?
Right. Well, I mean, Miami, I don't know if you heard the statistics, it's one of the largest startup city in the US, where you have the largest number of startups right now. And so there's a ton of people that are here and they want to start up businesses and they have some idea, some have a better idea than others. And hey, I want to open up a restaurant. And so, the first question is, what do you know about restaurants? Well, nothing, I just kind of eat there. Well, it's going to take a little bit more than that for sure, right, to get going in that sort of business and the complexity and all of that. So we find, a lot of startups wanting to go into business. I think the main challenge is most of them don't know the business they want to get into. In other words, they have no experience in the business. They just feel they can just go in and do it, and it's really very, very challenging. And you probably heard the statistics. For example, in the restaurant field, most restaurants at 80% fail, within 5 years, and all of those statistics. So you really have to know what you're doing to get into any sort of business nowadays. And you also have folks that want to go into business and feel, you know what, I just will do the minimum, this will lose money, but then somebody, Facebook will go and buy me for $2 billion, and then I'll stay home and just, enjoy the rest of my life. And that, I'm not saying that won't happen, but, in 99.99% of the cases, you're not going to be bought out, right? Particularly if you have an unprofitable business. You're just going to run out of capital and turn off the light switch, right? It's not going to happen. So what we do in SCORE is we try to mentor those people and counsel them and get them into the right path so they do a viability, study of their business. Is it going to be viable? And then, get a business plan. It could be a one-page business plan or a business model canvas or an extensive business plan, but do some sort of plan. Mm-hmm. And then do a financial plan as well. Most businesses fail for lack of cash. That's one of the top reasons they fail, because people think, well, I was with this client yesterday. She was going to buy a franchise for an insurance company. Okay, I said, so franchise $50,000. That sounds easy, $50,000 and that's it. But I said, but what? How many insurance policies are you going to sell the first month? Well, maybe 5. Okay, so what's the cost of all the employees, the office? So you need to have the capital, not only the $50,000, but then the ongoing expenses until you break even. And that's what most folks don't really consider when they start a business, that they will need to have the financing until they're profitable, whenever that is, and also have that line of sight whether the profit is going to be in 1 month or 1 year or 2 years or longer.
So I look on here, and it's from business planning, account and finance strategy, business management, legal requirements. I see that's huge, right? You sign the wrong contract,
Well, we help them. I mean, one of the difference between us and a consultant is, number one, our services are completely free. There's no catch, which is a big deal. I mean, that's the one question we get from all of the clients. What's the catch here? Why are you, most of our members, and volunteers, frankly, they're very highly qualified people that some of them have their own consulting, which they charge, large amounts of money. When they volunteer with us, it's free. We cannot, charge, and we don't charge. And so there's really no catch there. But then we don't do the work for them. So we'll give them the advice. For example, if you want to do a business plan, tell me, you want a one-pager? Here's a one-page template. You want to do something 10 pages? Here's a 10-page template. So we have the templates, and then we'll guide you through doing the work, but we won't do it. Same thing with legal advice. If you have an idea that maybe requires a copyright, and you're trying to, do I need to copyright my brand now, or should I wait a year from now because I'm short of capital? Then our attorneys will, talk to the client and say, hey, is this something that is likely to be copied? Is it worth to spend the money now, or patents for that matter? I mean, we have a lot of folks that need to have a patent. The reality is it's a ton of money to have a patent, and if the idea is really good, somebody's going to copy it anyway, and then you need the money to defend yourself in court and so on. So we kind of coach them and say, hey, maybe you wait a little bit until you have, some sales or whatever, and see if this is going to be viable before spending the money in the patent, or things like that. Or the same thing for the trademark. So you might wait a little bit, or might do patent pending, a filing, and so our attorneys will tell them. Now they won't do the filing, or they'll tell them, hey, go to this website. Look at the names in here and see which ones are taken. We'll give them guidance. We won't do the work.
I love that, because I think today, definitely with our youth, a lot of people give them oh, here you go. And if you're not resourceful in the beginning of the business, you're probably not going to be resourceful during or at the end of the business.
Absolutely. I mean, we tell that to everybody, particularly when you're trying to visualize the earnings and cash flow of a business. We get entrepreneurs that say, well, I'm going to have an accountant. And I say, I understand that, and that's fair enough. But you need to have some idea of the numbers. I mean, not, how much are you going to sell this for? Is that price competitive? What's your margin? What are your costs, and so on. You just can't assume that the numbers will fall into place. The good thing is we give them templates. For example, the Excel we have, it's actually locked, so they put the numbers in certain cells, and they cannot alter the formulas, which is very helpful. So it even goes to the point that it'll calculate your break even. So most people, it's like, wow, this is awesome, because then they can, if you put your sales, let's say you're selling whatever item. I mean, I have clients that are in the baking business. They do cakes. So, they might start with maybe 200 cakes a year or something, and see, well, then they see, hey, the break even is maybe 700 or whatever the number. So then you start to think, okay, so how do I get to 700, or can I get to 700, or should I adjust something else, the margin, or my cost too high? Mm-hmm. So the templates are very, very good, because they'll also give you, show you percentages and a lot of ways to visualize what you're doing without being, an expert financier, and so once the entrepreneurs, even with little experience, they see this and they start filling it up. It's like, oh yes, it's pretty simple. And as I said, having a template, it gives them the confidence that it's going to work. And we obviously guide them through that and coach them, and that's our role. But they have to get the numbers themselves to be put into the equation, right?
At 12 years old, my father, who was a CEO of a company, who still is, he took me into the first day of work, took me into the bathroom, showed me how to clean the bathroom and the toilets. And what was interesting about it is at certain points I had to use life skills like that from, we call it the bottom, but I don't think it's the bottom. It's a part of the piece. And so a lot of kids today, I throw an idea at them, definitely in our school when I speak around the country, college kids, high school, whatever it is, about how good are they at cleaning toilets. Because that was one of my first real experiences with a mentor, my father, changing my life. And they go, I wouldn't want to do that. And I'm like, do you know how much money you could make if you were the best toilet cleaner at McDonald's or Burger King? Do you know that they would pay you so much money to fly around the world and teach their people how to do what you do because you love what you do? And so it's interesting how a lot of people at the top have never, they think they want to go to the top, but they never work themselves through the bottom. So how can you be really good at cleaning toilets or making the French fries at a fast food joint? How can you tell people what to do or teach them what to do if you've never done it yourself? So I think what you guys are doing is the best approach, because somebody can go to somebody and just pay them to do it, but you guys are actually showing them how to do it themselves so that then they can replicate themselves long term and explain what they do to people better.
Absolutely. I mean, you got it right there. When the client needs to do a presentation to either the bank or an investor or whatever, they, by the fact that they know the numbers because of their own doing, they're the best person to communicate it. And so that plan and that presentation becomes so much more credible than saying to a banker, particularly if you're a small business, well, my accountant not going to show you the numbers, right? I mean, it's just, that's not, it doesn't give the banker perhaps the confidence. So you're absolutely right. I mean, we're full agreement in that. People, teaching them the skills and having them be able to feel comfortable with the basics of business is very fundamental.
I think that people in the beginning, and tell me what you think about this, people in the beginning of when you're a CEO or a startup president or a founder, people believe in you and your idea until you really make it, a computer, a desk, whatever it is, until you really manufacturing something and selling a lot of it, then they're like, awesome, let's look at the process. But in the beginning, I've seen a lot of people, whether on Shark Tank or other things, the investors believe in the people because of the drive and the commitment and the follow through and the vision and these things that they can see and they can imagine. They're like, I get where you're going. If you just had an extra $100,000 or $1 million or 50,000, you could create that outcome. I mean, I've had that in my life when investors come in and they're like, I see the vision, I want in. So how do you help the business owners really understand the value for them to understand how to learn all of this? Because the one thing I see on here, accounting and finance strategy, if you don't have cash flow, you die. And so I think that that's one of the biggest challenges in business is understanding the cash flow and the financial side and the projections, and understand that if you have 10, 20, 50, 100, 1,000 employees or whatever that number is, you have to be thinking you have to keep enough cash in there and have lines of credit in bad months or quarters and have these processes put in place so you can plan for whatever potentially, whether market shifts or product shifts or more development, R&D, whatever's going on, you really have to plan and see that vision. So how do you get them to really understand the value of that?
Well, I mean, as I was saying earlier, I think it's once people start with the numbers at a small scale and they work through those numbers and they see that they can really understand the materiality of and the value of one client, because ultimately, business is all about clients, right? And so once I understand, do I need 20 clients? Do I need 5? How many do I need? And then how many of my items do I need to sell to each client and at what price? So by the way we tend to start small. Let's start with your number one item. What's your number one item that you're going to sell? So is it whatever item? So it's going to be like, again, I'll take the insurance example. Maybe this client was focused on truck insurance. I say, why? Well, because they have a trucking business, so they understand truck insurance. So that's great. See, there's an example of somebody that has been in the trucking business knows that the insurance for trucks is very expensive. So one policy, to give you an example, Ajay, it was like $18,000 a year. So it's so a commission on that is whatever 10%. So that's $1,800. So that's fairly material. So when you start with that client like that, and you say, well, then you can kind of see the numbers right away. I need to do how many, 5, 10 of those, and so how many friends are lined up that you're going to call and clients, and so you work your way through the numbers. The templates we have are very nice because they'll actually tell you when you have to go get a loan. So if you don't have enough sales, it'll actually tell you have to get a loan, or you have to get an investor or a partner, or you have to stop taking salary, which it's another option that many entrepreneurs that are starting up and they're maybe employed doing something else, they say, you know what, I'm not going to draw a salary for the first 6 months. That's fine. So we can do that in the template. We'll put no salary for the owner until the business profitable, whatever the client wants. So it's once you start working in small increments with the business, they start to get it, and trust me, it just becomes something that they own and they work with, and it's really a very favorable outcome because they learn, as you said, and then they can. These are tools that they can use for the rest of their business life.
So, how when somebody comes in and starts getting advice from you guys, I'm guessing they're probably good at whether the technology or the vision. At the end of the day, they want to create something. How many of them are really prepared to create it and then follow through with that commitment?
Well, I mean, our basic premise is that everybody is qualified and should be able to do their idea. So the first thing we don't really pass any judgment whether the idea is good or bad. I think that's one rule that for us is very important, because you have to work through the numbers and work through the plan to, at the end of the day, the entrepreneur is the one that has to decide whether they want to go on with the idea or not go on. So what we do, when people come in, rather than sort of trying to go one way or another, we'll try to say, hey, this is sort of what we need. These are the 5 things to get started. Which one do you want to start? We'll start with this, A, B, or C, whatever, and we'll go down the path. And ideally, once you start down that path, ideally you will be able to be successful. I mean, there's some people that, like anywhere, they maybe give up or they put it on pause. They say, you know what, I'm not going to be able to do this, and that's fine. I mean, and so many of them, believe it or not, come back after a year and say, now I'm ready because, whatever things have changed, or I now, know about that business or whatever reason. So I mean, we just work with people and try to get them down that road, and just help them fill their gaps, and make it in the business.
What's one thing that you guys need that you don't have today, that if you had it, you can make more impact?
We need more volunteers. I mean, frankly, it's like any organization. One of the things is we're fortunate. We're very successful in getting new clients. I mean, as you saw, we nationally and locally, since we're a free service, you can imagine, we get a lot of clients, number one. Number two, if we get over 100 clients a month, and we have our ongoing clients, that's a huge demand because we want to service our existing clients and our new clients. So we need volunteers, and volunteers nowadays, I mean, there's many other opportunities, particularly in Miami, to volunteer, and people have choices, and so one of our tasks as leaders in the organization is to recruit volunteers and get more volunteers so we can then have more clients. So that's for us a key item. People move out of Miami, so they may no longer volunteer. Different reasons, family reasons, whatever. And so, yeah.
I love what you guys do, and you guys are really building this. What are your next goals? And besides volunteers, how can people help you guys? Can they donate? Can they?
They can donate. For us, they can donate their time. That's really the most valuable commodity to us is people's time, because in addition to being business counselors, like any organization, we have a lot of things to do. We have, we didn't get to talk a lot, but we have a workshop program that we put on, which most of them are free or very low cost, and so that requires support, staffing to be there, and signing people, and different roles that we have, and even meetings and different things. We participate in a lot of public events. Like last week was Small Business Week, so we need volunteers to be there at the different events. Tell people about our services. So people can help if they have time. They can help us, and obviously they can do donations as well. But as I said, really, our biggest demand is really time and volunteering, whether it's help, directly working with clients, or in activities such as being a workshop presenter or being just a general volunteer helping with other tasks.
And what are those skill sets that you're looking for from mentors?
Mentors, we will actually accept, the principal skill really is to have the good communication skill, to be able to listen to the client and be able to process that information and help them along the path. The reality is that by having all of the talent that we have, most of our volunteers, if they need specialized skills for a certain question, they will reach out to somebody else in the organization. For example, I'm not a banker, but whenever one of my clients is at the stage that he or she needs a loan, I'll call, we have several former bankers that, hey, can you sit down with such and such, and they'll sit down with them and coach them through that part of the process. So we share our talents in the organization amongst the volunteers, and the clients have the opportunity to reach out to us, and actually nationally we have several hundred recorded webinars and whatever that they can also listen to for free. So resources, being a national organization, are pretty impressive, if you will, for our clients. So with all of that, between stuff that's available online and other volunteers, we can answer most of the questions that they have.
I love this. Hey, if you guys want to start your own business, you're an entrepreneur, you know somebody, or I guess the biggest thing is now volunteering.
Also,
I challenge business owners out there or people in the community, come and impact somebody's life, whether kids or whether adults. They can come in and you can serve. We're doing a lot of entrepreneurship, which I want to talk to you about for our school after this, but it'd be great because we're working with an organization that comes in and does business plans, but that's what they do. Mm-hmm. But this, and bringing some of your seasoned entrepreneurs in to impact kids in neighborhoods and really solve some of those generational poverty areas could be so impactful, because the whole community grows at that point. So thank you for what you do. Is there anything else you want people to know about you guys?
No, I just want them to know that they can register online at score.org. Either find a mentor. You just enter your zip code and some very basic information, and you'll get assigned a mentor, or at the same place to be a volunteer, score.org. You can be volunteer. Or you can look at a workshop at our calendar, at the Miami-Dade calendar website, Miami-Dade, scoremiami.org. Score Miami.
So check out scoremiami.org, you guys. Be a part of the system, impact the system. And if you need help and support, go ask. It's free. You guys aren't charged for this stuff. So there's no excuse if you ever say, I want to start a business, become an entrepreneur, have more freedom in life. This is your chance right now. Go to scoremiami.org. Thanks for coming on today.
Appreciate it.
And check out Center for Social Change in Miami, guys. Come by their offices and enjoy a great coffee when you guys get here. It's free. Awesome. Thank you, brother.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Appreciate you.
Thank you for your time.
Have a great day, guys. See ya.